Hey there, friend. This is Pastor Vince coming to you on behalf of the WSLM Radio Ministry Podcast. I want to spend a few minutes to talk about our Sabbath morning program or Saturday morning program entitled Eyes on Prophecy. Every Sabbath morning, we get together at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we study Bible prophecy. Ever since we started this program, we've been going through our foundational study to lay the foundation to prepare us for our actual series of lesson studies. We've gone through the symbols in Bible prophecy. We've gone through the numbers. We completed our study on the symbols and the numbers this morning when we came together. It's still Saturday. It's still Sabbath, April 22nd, 2023. We presented our most recent study this morning. Hopefully you've listened to that already. If you haven't, please go back and listen to that. But what I'm asking for you to do between today and next Sabbath morning, next Saturday morning when we come together, please familiarize yourself with the entire book of Daniel. Daniel has 12 chapters. So far, I've had you read up through chapter 6, I believe. But between now and next Saturday morning, I'd like you to go ahead and complete the entire book of Daniel, which has 12 chapters. Read it cover to cover, or I should say page by page, word for word. If you don't do that, please just skim through it, peruse the book of Daniel, whatever you need to do to familiarize yourself more with the book of Daniel. Because when we get into our first actual series of lesson studies next Sabbath by God's grace, I want you to already be familiar with the language, with the tone, with the context of the book of Daniel. When we start our first actual lesson next Sabbath, I don't want any of the material that we go through to be foreign to you. I want you to have some familiarity, if that makes sense. So please, between today and next Sabbath morning, which is next Saturday morning, please read the entire or familiarize yourself with the entire book of Daniel. All right. I think we're ready to get into our first lesson study. There's so much about Bible prophecy to be covered. There's so much that cannot be covered in one episode, in one presentation. There's so much, but I feel that we're ready to get into our first actual lesson study. It's a series of lesson studies, and we're not going to finish every lesson in one episode either, in one presentation. But I want us to go ahead and start that first lesson in the series of lesson studies by God's grace next Sabbath morning or next Saturday morning when we come together at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's it, friends. I just wanted to give you that update, to give you some time to get yourself prepared for our next meeting here on the WSLM Radio Ministry Podcast for Eyes on Prophecy. It's the WSLM Radio Ministry Podcast where we stand for God's truth, not man's traditions, and we bring you straight Bible truth for these last days. The WSLM Radio Ministry Podcast is a virtual outreach ministry of Sacrificial Lamb Ministries. We are outreach driven. Hey, this is Pastor Vince, just giving you this update. Please have a blessed rest of your weekend. May the Lord be with you. And by God's grace, we'll come together next Sabbath morning, which is next Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our next meeting of Eyes on Prophecy. Be blessed.